and privilege to be here. It is also my pleasure and privilege to have you all here in our gathering and sanctuary here. That being said, before I get into the conversation, I just want to remind I speak from inspiration, and as we will discover these tidbits of information, we'll explore it together, and it's definitely will become a part of my journey as well. So, that being said, the song choices are absolutely perfect because I'm being thrilled just about all year long. Perfect song choices to the sentiment of either what I'm about to speak or they tune me into that part of the vibration. So it's a beauty itself. Another thing I'm just wanting to remind, we are in the week starting for the Thanksgiving week plus the holiday week right beyond it. So I was in my quirky way looking at today the 24th. We got exactly a month for those that are delayed in their preparation. You've got a few weeks to go, ramp up that activity. Those that don't pay attention, please don't pay attention. So I was just writing the date down in the back and I'm like, oh well, there we are. So this year has been nothing but gentle reminders for me, and I feel where I am moving into my journey, I'm observing others not much different than myself, because we are all in our own version of journey and storyline, and we are all playing our part. We like it, we don't like it, we fight with it, we play with it, but we have choices, but we don't have a choice within that. We have to be a part of our story. We cannot be anywhere else. So that year-long speaking and just paying attention to the inspirational part, the journey is moving on. It's not waiting on anybody. It doesn't have that option. So that choice is not there. It will continue to move. And what I am observing, that life is becoming more visible and palpable in terms of fragility. It has always been fragile, but I think it's becoming more evident through the ways of life we are vibrating at this time. So that awareness is there. Plus, the death and dying is a part of our belief system, the continuity of life, afterlife. It's just the nature of what we believe. So sometimes I find I'm not sensitive enough to empathize with somebody, because if somebody says this is happening and I'm like, oh well, they're going on a different journey. They're just changing their roles from physical to non-physical. But then I realize that I'm not really responding as an average human person should be, like, I'm sorry this is happening or that's happening. Part of being present in that process, I found for all of us that once again, we don't have choice with that. But the best you can do is to be present, be in that space. So just gently also understanding this little bits and pieces, because as I was sitting in that chair through the healing portion of the service, I was just surrendering. And that's what I'm finding over many years of my own version of spiritual work is my surrender is so simple yet profound in some ways that I'm like absolutely in the middle of nothing. You could call it I'm absolutely detached in some ways of life, where I'm nothing and I'm recognizing I am nothing. And that makes it even more interesting, because that allows me to be a part of anything and everything that is happening. But it is that awareness, it's a moment of awareness. It's not there 24/7, but it is there. And I'm saying this out loud because it is happening to you as well. It's not just my story. Within the busyness of your life, responding to life situations, somewhere you're also there with yourself, not knowing you're present with yourself. Perhaps my circumstances allow me that opportunity to be more aware of my own space, because I'm not living your story. I'm living my story, so I have to recognize that. And that's humbling enough to elevate my awareness, expanding my vibration, understanding where that is. And it just is, because I still, having so many choices, I'm bound within those choices to be a part of that. I cannot do everything and all the things that I want. So as a place of gratitude, I have a tremendous amount of gratitude for just about everything. And just beginning of this week, my thought was, I'm so grateful for all my successes, but I'm also grateful for all my failures. Some I created, some I was a part of, some somebody else created for me. But I'm grateful because without those failures, I would not be able to exponentially understand the other side of it. Successes or things that push me to be more. Same things for all of us. You know, we are being pushed all the time to be more. How we're responding to it is a whole different scheme of things. Is there. So sitting in that chair, I'm just going to be able to give you what I received. It is the energy centers. It's the 7 energy centers, right from the root through the crown chakra, but these are just words. And I would like you to say, take the aspect of gratitude in these spaces. And as root chakra is defined, the base of our spine is defined as a seed of creation. It has all life enters through there. And my word sitting in that chair was to aspire. I'm grateful that I am able to aspire. Fill in the blanks. You can have 1 million and plus one more as you wish, but I am able to aspire. Then and I sat with that, and a part was this was just simple. Taking the complexity out of it and just saying that I'm able to aspire whatever I choose to, and just let it move into our energetic system. And the second word that came up into the sacral space was I achieve. I achieve with grateful heart and a grateful sense of openness towards life and the way it responds to us. And that is a simple replacement of the complexity of sacral, where a lot of our esteem needs are stationed, our societal needs are stationed. But the simple word of I achieve allows us the openness to achieve when it is in front of us. I'm pretty sure all of us have had experience when things were offered to us. We were in self-denial or just denial or just being socially appropriate to say, no, we don't want this. And all that aspects are fulfilled in this sacral region, because when things are offered to you, physical things, things that makes life easy, or spiritual things that make spiritual life easy, the aspect of achieving with the openness of gratitude, or oh, this is beautiful, it makes my life easy, resolves a lot of things that we don't have to hang on to. And that part for me was just becoming so simple and supple in some ways of moving my energies onward into life is there. The solar plexus, which is right in the navel area, the word that I had was be. Just be. And I have, over my time of work, am recognizing, even through my spiritualist understanding and philosophy of mediumship, psychic communication, and etc., solar plexus is where things move, because it's a feeling center. Everything is entering there, everything is moving out of there, so just be, then we are connected with everything. Be one with everything. And that simplicity of knowing is, I'm also surrendering in that space. That if I'm not surrendering, then I'm carrying my filters in the aspect of receiving. And if I have filters, I'm probably not receiving in the rawness or the purity of those things. So I have to drop my guard, I have to lower my guard to be able to feel what I have to feel. I cannot be in my defensive guarded mode to receive in the solar plexus. I have to somewhere allow the vulnerabilities and fears and subtle, silent aspects of my life to just go down, be not there. So opening with a little sense of vulnerability, the soul will move you into the place of connectedness with everything that we need to understand. We may not know everything, but whatever we need to understand will allow us to move into that space very softly and very gently. So a little washout might happen, a little sense of sigh would come along, it would, a feeling of lightheartedness comes into place, your being just feels light, and that's one more thing for all of us to find we can be grateful for it, because we're not creating any stressors along in that moment of experience. The heart space, the word that I was receiving is just light. It's all light. And in a very conventional way, it is called the seed of love. But what is love without light? If love cannot illuminate us, then moot point, I feel. So part of that movement in that heart space within the sense of light is just to understand we are all carrying light. All throughout our life, we are all living a spiritual journey. We get to see it from a spiritual lens or not, it is what it is. And it's moving into the spiritual dimension. And the light, no matter how faded, how dim, how subdued it is, it's still light. Until our last breath, that light stays intact. So our root closes up, our light snuffs out, and so goes the soul to the other side. In a whole different level of light that cannot be quantifiable or explainable in simple words. So the heart and the space is about love and light, but the word for me was light. Be grateful that my light is still there. No matter how harsh my circumstances are, how difficult life has been, that I am able to carry this light to guide my forward motion. It is also lighting my back, but I don't have the need to usually look at the hindsight. It's already there. It's guiding ahead of us. But the movement of the light in that spiritual space for me is, if we don't have that love and light, as a spiritual being, a spiritual healer, a medium, or any version of healing from the metaphysical, mystical side of life, without the light it's really not taking us anywhere. You have to bear that awareness that I am an illuminated being, drawing into the power of the universe and the infinite through my expression of my version of life. So that work is a mixture of a lot of things when we go out into the spirit side of life, or in the higher side of life, or the consciousness beyond explainable realm, so to speak. And that is just how I feel. In this moment of expression, that's just how it is. The next stage is right on our throat center, and all I was hearing was the breathing processes at that time. So breathe. When we go into the voice, and I was a little surprised because I've come to know these energy centers in a whole different manner through studies and working with the faculties that we get to work with, but breath, and I still am wondering if it meant breathe before you speak. Trying to put one and one together. But it was breath. I could just feel that cool breath moving, and it was not even my sense of breath. So if you are into that concentrated state of your own commitment with yourself, sitting in the power, sitting in the presence of the infinite, feel if it's really your physical breath or it is a different version of that breath. And that subtlety of awareness has the potential to move our expanded awareness into a whole different dimensional places. So enjoying that space for me, because I can still feel that breath, it's not my physical breath, there is a sense. And right at that time, our chairperson came and seated there as I was processing there. So I was aware because it moved away from me. But at the same time, is what I'm expressing is, if you are in that process of your spiritual growth and spiritual maturing and firming, life will happen. It might give you a shift, and you may feel a little self-different that you're off from that side. Just naturally or otherwise, you have the potential of returning back to it. Now the third eye became a point of you have to relax. And as I'm speaking to you, those that are in the works will understand you just can't force a vision. You just can't force that aspect in our abilities to see. It doesn't work that way. At least in my experiences, it has never worked under the pressure of time or performance. I have to relax, I have to just zone out in some ways or neutralize my own awareness of my nature to go into that little free zone of being able to move into that part. Practitioners that practice breath work or they practice focus and concentration, they have the ability to move. Yet still, to go from here to there, you have to relax into that space. So part of that is to relax the third eye. And the third eye could be the ability to see for ourselves, see for others. Once again, perceive things is also an alternative phrase for it. But a part of that is if you're not relaxing, if you're forcing, if you're pushing, You might get a vision, but I would challenge you to challenge its own sense of authenticity. Is it my desires, wants, and needs that are coming out as a vision, or which is to be in a neutral space to see what I need to see? There's a big aspect of that. So in the modern day world, if you're sitting across the table from somebody within the aspect of deliverables, and if you have to push through that space, you should be practiced enough to break yourself away into the relaxed state of seeing or going in that visualizing space for that purpose. But the part is the act of the other layers through our simplicity of gratitude or simplicity of surrendering. I am just an instrument, just the word we are given. We are just a medium, a conduit. We are nothing more, nothing less. And we are all shapes and sizes, and our whole sense of movement goes through that conduit. So having that awareness is there. The wisdom center, the crown center, was back to be. Be all things and one thing more. Be everything and one thing more. And that one thing is undefined space or whatever it needs to be. Because if it's an infinite space, then you cannot really put in a chronological order that everything is known. Even if it is what it is, there'll be something more beyond the infinite to understand. So the same vision may not be the same vision in repetitive motion. Even though we understand we have to have vocabulary for our awareness, but perception changes, meaning changes, circumstance changes. Just like in the physical laws, when they say time, space, continuum being the standard, these will be the same results over time. Probably so, but since we are vibrational beings and we're working with vibration and energy, it's subject to change given the same conditions too. So just having a little simple awareness, and these are just my simple notes. I jotted down, there's nothing more going on here. Other than saying my profoundness of an acronym which is used for many things, the KISS principle has come up to say, keep it simple spiritual. And I'm just profoundly finding a sense of joy and purpose in it, because then it takes me away from the mumbo jumbo of it. Because you have to know, once you're in the knowing space, and you don't need the complex processes. You may have to start from there. So when you're in a trained place and a rehearsed place, then those processes are not so much there. So Thanksgiving and spiritualism could be tied in together, because where there's an act of gratitude, there's a lot of mixed emotions and stories behind Thanksgiving. So this festive occasion for me is always a complex. I do not know which way to lean myself. But today I'm finding myself to be absolutely neutral because I am part of the story. And that's for me is to be able to live through those emotions that is on either side of the polarization. The happy gratitude place or the life and loss that came along with it. Somebody's loss is somebody's gain and vice versa. So the natural laws are always operating without leaving us anything. Nobody's outside of it. So enjoy your journey. When you sit on the Thanksgiving table, be sincerely grateful. And if you're not sincerely grateful, then don't. Whatever it is, just be in that space. If you're missing your loved ones that are not joining you on the table, still be. Because those emotions will be there too. And some people that chose not to be there with you, even that is a part of the story, so just be. Because without being, you cannot have anything else. So try to just be in that space. Is there? Some of us are fortunate to have a sense of community. Some still are struggling with it. But it's still part of the storyline. The best you can be is just be. So when you are in that state of like, it's okay, this is how it's supposed to be, then that be becomes the open, aware, expanded zone. Because after that you can be anything you want. So, if you are also finding yourself in the middle of heightened emotions because of our time-space continuum throughout the universe, you have the choice to be. You may not know what to do, you may not know how to respond, and then there's all the more question is, if I can just be, do I have to really respond to anything other than go into our own hearts and hold everything in the light and the love that doesn't need anything more. It is all inclusive, it's all complete. It's not broken, it's not fragile, it is full. And that part of that simplicity moves us into the physical and the non-physical spaces fluidly, effortlessly, without worrying about anything of any kind. But we have sometimes been challenged to even know and remember how to be. We have to act and react with however the norms of life sets it up. Every 5-6 years that changes. So being is not an easy thing. Being takes a lot of courage. Being takes a lot of, it asks a lot out of us to just be. So be your Thanksgiving, holidays, etc. Be whatever you want it to be. Because you own your own be, I own my be, and everybody else does their own. So just recognize that part. My sense of gratitude is breath to breath. Coming up here, I was listening to a hymn from Eastern Indian origins, more of a Sufist tradition. And all it was saying is, as long as the infinite is infinite, I cannot be limited. I'm paraphrasing that. So I was listening to that. It's one of my favorite songs to hear because I can understand what they're saying in my terms of language. I'm paraphrasing. So as long as the God's moving and has the infinite abilities, I cannot be limited. And I will keep going as long as that's going. In the here, in the physical, in the flesh, and beyond the time-space continuum when I transit to the other side, I still will continue to be. And that's the potential of each and every one of us to know we're powerful. We're exponentially unlimited. So why do we choose to see things through a limited lens? So there was a movie, it is called Vantage Point, and I have only watched it 2 times. I usually, sometimes when I like a movie, I watch it numerous times. So I've seen some movies 20, 30, 40 times. I'm sure some Star Wars fans are still watching these shows. I'm just saying, that's a big thing. But anyhow, that Vantage Point movie was shot in a way that the same scene was looked from 4 or 5 different point of views. Same thing was being looked at 4 or 5 different characters, how they were seeing the incident, how they were seeing. And I'm bringing the conversation to a close in a certain order at this time. That's what life is. When you feel it's limited or you don't have a way to get out of anything or understand anything, at minimum you have the ability to shift your perspective to a different vantage point to see what it looks like from there. You know, life is not linear, truthfully. You have the ability to go in a certain different degree of angle. Same thing is, I'm standing here, if I go to that corner, the room will shift a little bit. Same aspect is there. Whatever life is throwing at you, you can't make sense of it. Shift to the left or right, forward, backward, some perspective is going to change. I will bring you into a little simple release to understand it's not the same. Things are different. And that's just a very quick way of finding a focus, reestablishing threshold of your horizon to where it needs to be, and then moving on into that thing if it feels good. So we're going to end this conversation with a little bit of exercise. I want everybody to just clear your hands, but just move anything, books, pens, just move out, move things away. And I just want you to recognize how you are. And if you could just fix your sight directly to the wall and just breathe as you're breathing. meditation or anything, this is just a little awareness piece. You start from the top of your head, not from the toes, top of your head. And you start losing any involuntary control over your muscles and your skin or any nerves. There is, just relax. Relaxing your temples, eyes, nose, cheeks. Just let gravity take over, just your chin, your neck. You may drop your shoulders, just let the gravity. Just subtle and simple. And with that, I just want you to be aware, we don't realize how much we control. We have to use those muscles to feel that sense. It's a whole different experience of having a feeling almost like everything is melting. Try that once a week or whenever you can think about it. You will understand how much we're holding stressors or just even physiology. Everything just melts. And I find this because sometimes I'm work myself up emotionally, mentally, charging into things, trying to figure things out, and I just feel everything is just tightening up, and I use that very frequently. And it tells me, oh, there's another way. And that's the whole point. If we are all spiritual beings, we can never forget there's always going to be another way. And how do we get to it? What it is? It's upon our individual journey. How do we figure it out? And that's the beauty, I think, what we are given this life for, is to understand there is a way. And we come in looking for a way, and we go